Hello guys, this is Mark. My last name is Harp, H-A-R-P, just like the Angels play. The reason I decided to make this video is because I have seen a lot of guys out in the woods, hunting, freezing their butts off. I've come up with a system that really works well for me, keeps me warm, and I think I'd like to pass it along for those of you who are always getting cold feet, or your hands get frozen, or something like that out in the woods. But the good part about what I'm going to tell everybody is that this also works with any other sport or activity where you're outside and freezing your butt off. And that would include flying drones, RCs, flying just about anything where you've got to stand still to watch what you're doing. This goes for fishing. It goes for running around on quad, four-wheelers. So anyway, it's a system that I've worked out over the past 20 years, and it really keeps me warm in the winter. I don't have to worry about my toes freezing off and my hands getting extremely cold. And where other people are having to go in and take a break, I don't have to. And it all starts with some products that came out years ago, and they're called Hot Hands. Originally, Hot Hands started out as a little, maybe not Hot Hands, but another company came out with a little bitty unit about this big, and it was all silver, and you poured lighter fluid in it, or kerosene or something. But I had one of them, and you lit it, and you put the cover back on, and you stuck it in your pocket. Those things get really hot, and but they keep your hands warm until they ran out of juice or whatever. But they weren't the safest things in the world either. I mean, you had basically a flame going inside this cover. So I'm sure there was, over the years, somebody caught fire and was running around the woods like a chicken with his head cut off because his pants were on fire. But anyway, science and technology progressed to the point now to where that's no longer a threat or we have to worry about. But what I want to do is I really want to help the guys that are out there, or everybody that's out there, be able to enjoy themselves in a enjoyable way when they're outside in the cold weather. Okay, it's basically how to put this. It's basically putting on your regular, let's say, thermal underwear, thermal shirt to start with. And then what I found is they have a product called Hot Hands Body Warmer. Now these body warmers, if you notice when you get them, you'll notice it says adhesive. The adhesive is very, very important to you. Now they have another product out called toe warmers. These toe warmers are just as important, and they have adhesive on them. And then last but not least, you have the insole foot warmers, which also have adhesive on them. Now these, when used in unison, in conjunction with one another, will definitely keep you warm. And I can say that because for about the past 3 or 4 years, that's all I've been doing. I've been using these. And how you use them is important if you want to stay warm. Now they also have Hot Hands has what they call hand warmers, but they're not adhesive. So you got to remember that. And then they also have another one out there called foot warmers, and they're not adhesive either. And the reason I like the adhesive ones is because they stick where you put them. So what you want to do is you want to be able to put those someplace on your body that's going to maximize your staying warm while you're out in the woods or doing whatever. And what I'd start off with is explaining something about how these Hot Hands work. The minute you unzip one of these things or open the bag, they activate and they start getting warm or getting hot. All of them do. Now these things store real well. As long as you don't open this bag you don't have anything to worry about, and they'll usually stay good for a couple of years. I've had some now that are probably 3 years old, and surprisingly enough, they still work. And you can tell if they're going to work or not, because when you grab them and twist them around like this, if they feel like a rock or they're hard, then they're no good. As long as they're flexible and pliable, then you can use them. But what I found is that if you take, and my preference for this is I wear Under Armour. I love Under Armour. It's they make a really, really good product, and I can't speak, enough about them, and to really praise how good that works out in the field. As you notice, I've got an underarm short sleeve shirt on, and this works great for attaching, these body warmers to. Simply, all you do is just open the bag like this, and on the back you're going to find that's what it's going to look like. And what it says is, do not apply directly to skin, and they mean that. Don't apply this directly to your skin, because it can burn, especially if people have got sensitive skin. And what I do is I take it and I put one right here. So what that does is that's going to heat up, my chest cavity. It means that the air coming in that I'm breathing in will heat up. Then I take another one and put it on my lower back, depending on how cold it is, and then I take another one and put it in between my shoulder blades. Then you can take these as well and stick them on your thighs, but that's if you've got a pair of thermal underwear, or in the case of Under Armour, you have on some of their pants. They've got some compression types, and they got the tactical type of pants. I go with the tactical as the under layer, and then they have an outer layer now that's strictly for winter, and I put those over the top. But I never put these directly on my skin because they can get really warm. Then if you put those on your thighs, believe me, and you have one on your chest and one on your lower back, you're going to stay warm. And then I take an Under Armour shirt, long sleeve, either compression or winter shirt. I've got a couple of winter shirts, and then I put it over this shirt here, and that traps the body heat. One of the things about staying warm in the winter is that you need layers. The more layers you have on, the better it's going to be. This actually helps me, is actually reduce the layers in the sense of the thickness of each layer. Because you used to have to wear all kinds of heavy-duty sweaters, wool sweaters, and everything trying to trap the body heat, inside whatever jacket I might be wearing. So after I get, let's say, my original pair of leggings on, I'll put the winter pair with that, but in between, just like with the t-shirt, I'll have these body warmers, this body warmer, on that first layer, and then I'll put another layer of Under Armour on top of that. So that gives me 2 layers right there, and then you have one layer that's actually producing heat. When it comes to your feet, you've got, like I said, you've got the toe warmers, and you've got the toe warmers. They come 2 to a pack, so that's enough for both feet. You take the toe warmers and do the same thing. You put on a pair of socks. They don't have to be so much thermal socks, it's just a good pair of socks. And you peel it off. And what I like to do is put these up on the very, very end of my toes, where my toes, like the end of my foot's here. I like to take them and put them up right there. That works well for me, because then it heats up the very end of the boot. Then I take one of these insole warmers. Excuse me. Let's see, where is the opener on this? It's got a place where you just tear it, it tears and opens. And then I place this one. I place the insole down about here on my foot. This way, the bottom of my foot and all the way back to my heel stays warm. You really don't need 2 layers of socks with these. You just need 1 layer if you're wearing thermal, insulated boots with Insulate or something like that on the inside of the boot. But depending on how cold it's going to be inside, I've actually gotten away with wearing just tennis shoes and a pair of socks and these because it allows your foot to breathe. And the only thing I'm not real fond of are these hot hands where they say foot warmers because they're non-adhesive. They won't stick to the bottom of your foot. These are good because when you put them, they'll stay in place. And so with the toe warmers, when you peel these things off, they basically, when you start standing on them, they're going to stay in place. And when you get home, you're going to have to, peel them off the bottom of your foot. I've done it countless times. But with these foot warmers here that are non-adhesive, these actually kind of float around in the bottom of your foot, and they'll kind of bunch up at one end or another, and they won't stay up underneath your insole because that's where they most of the time will end up. And they're all right, they will work, and I've actually used these in place of hand warmers. Now, Hot Hands comes out in the year usually with some big value packs, and that's what I highly advise, to buy are these big value packs if you can get your hands on them. I ran out this past deer season, and I went to 2 Walmarts and a Bass Pro Shops, and they were out. The only thing Bass Pro Shops had were a bunch of hand warmers, and that was it. These things are real popular, and if used properly, they're great. I mean, they will definitely keep you warm. Like I said, I'm not real hot on the foot warmers, but it was funny that when I left all these stores, I finally went to the Walmart closest to my house, and they had everything I wanted. They had all this stuff, all these Hot Hands products, which really surprised me because of the number of hunters around where I live. I thought they'd be gone, but they weren't. But if you'll follow simple guidelines in regards to suiting up and dressing up with these Hot Hands, I can guarantee you that you'll stay warm out there regardless of what you're doing. Now, I'm going to step back and talk about the hand warmers. These hand warmers, as you can tell, aren't that big. Let's see. Normally, I cut these in half. And let me open it up here. Okay. You can see they're not real big, but they will slide inside the glove real well. And let's see, Under Armour has some gloves, has some thin gloves, and one of them's a no scent, and then they got the other ones that are all thin, and they fit in there real well. You can slide them between two of their glove layers, or even on one, and then take that and stick it inside a leather glove or an insulated glove, and it'll definitely keep your hands warm. I've taken the foot warmers and opened up a couple of them and stuck them in the pockets of my jacket. And if my hands get, if these can't keep my hands warm enough, then I'll have a couple of foot warmers in my pockets, and I can stick my hands in there, and it helps warm them back up, especially like when, a finger or a thumb, something like that, if you're running radio controls or if you're using the finger to pull the trigger with. The idea is to keep, everything's working properly. And in the cold weather, it's real hard to, you tend to, pull shots and everything else, because of your muscles being cold and not wanting to respond when you tell them to. Like I said, I am a real big firm believer in the Under Armour. Wearing those underneath my blue jeans, but also I put another, after I've got those 2 layers of Under Armour on, I put on a pair of blue jeans or something like that, and then I have a pair of ski pants that I put on top of all that, and that keeps me extremely warm. It just depends on how cold it's going to get out. Now, if it's going to be in the minus below 32, I go with the ski pants. And even if it's down at only 32 degrees, I will still go out there with the ski pants because it's much easier to take these pants off and take off the pants, these heavier ski pants or lightweight ski pants, than anything else. If you're getting too warm, you can take them off, and you start cooling back down. Especially if you like to walk around the woods like I do. So it's better to have too much heat going in there with you than not enough, because once you get to that point of your body starts to shake, you know what's getting ready to getting ready to happen. You're getting ready to bail out of the woods or stop flying your RCs or whatever. Now, I can't put a word in big enough for RC camp drones out of North Carolina. They've got a website which I have not posted. Maybe it will get posted. But Justin Davies over there has been extremely helpful. And I was watching one of his videos about, how to take care of your quadcopter and stuff like this when, it's cold weather, and, what to do when flying. And that's what prompted me to want to make this video so that the quad and RC guys out there flying around would be able to benefit from what the hunters have known for many years, because I can see where there's a lot of maybe RC guys out there that aren't flying, that don't go out and hunt, and that's fine. That's just my preference. I love to hunt. But from that, I've learned a lot about staying warm and surviving out in the cold weather. So that's just a helpful hint. So that's about all I really have to say on staying warm. If you have any questions, I'm sure you can email me at or just make a comment under this if it ever gets up on YouTube, and I'll try to answer it as best I can. You'll notice a few things in the background, and yes, I'm a Vietnam vet and all that, and I got a Purple Heart and everything else. But aside from that, I just want to pass along to you guys out there that need to know. And one other thing in passing is that I've watched a lot of these videos out there and things on YouTube, and I see these guys out there running around, especially younger guys, with their, they put their hats on all kinds of funny ways. They put it on sideways, and they put it, with it over the top of their ears and everything like this. And if you really want to get respect in the world, you don't want to run around looking like an idiot. And I say that honestly and sincerely, because if you ever watch a major league ball player out there, these guys don't wear their hats all funky looking, and if they do, they're just rookies. One thing when I was working with horses, you found out that if a guy took his hat and pulled it down tight on his head and looked at you straight, and you knew he was serious. And the guy that took his hat and set it way back on his head means he was relaxed, calm, no problem. But you could always tell when the man was thinking by the way he wore his hat. And so when the guy takes his hat and throws it off the side, and it looks like he's not saying anything. It just shows that he has no understanding of what wearing a hat is all about. But I thought I'd throw that in there for my for 2 cents worth, because I'm just so tired of seeing it out there on the street and on videos and everything else. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed this short video on staying warm in the wintertime, and love to hear from you. Take care.